Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm your host, Dr. Haider Shah. On behalf of Calvas, I would like to welcome all of you to this webinar. Thank you very much for joining us. Today we have another very interesting topic, and I'm really honored to welcome and introduce our distinguished guest speaker who is going to talk about mindfulness for positive life. Today, we will explore and talk about the transformative power of mindfulness and its profound impact on cultivating a positive and a fulfilling life. In this fast paced world filled with the constant distraction and overwhelming responsibility, it's easy to lose sight of the present moment and neglect our own well being. However, by incorporating mindfulness into our daily life, routine, we can develop a greater sense of self awareness, cultivate a deep connection with the world around us, and nurture a positive mindset that empowers us to navigate life challenges and resilience and the grace. So you will get the best insight about all these things because we have an expert with us in today's this session. So stay tuned because an amazing stuff are coming ahead in this session. So before we start, I would like to thank Kalwas for arranging such enlightenment sessions for their support and providing us such a wonderful platform. The aim of Kalwas is to give you the opportunity to connect and interact with world-renowned speakers, academic leaders, teachers, authors, researchers, experts, professionals, and businessmen to share their views, experiences, and tips which will create an impact and will enable you to learn and develop yourself in order to grow and transform individually as well as to contribute to the world at large. As our slogan is come, learn, and share knowledge. So today we have a distinguished guest speaker. He's the most respected and well-known personality in academia and industry with a vast experience and exposure. We always see him on different platforms while contributing to the field and work. Moreover, his YouTube channel is full of wonderful and great content, which is being followed by 15.7K subscribers with almost 300 videos, which is full of wonderful knowledge. Through his great knowledge and wisdom, students, researchers, and professionals are getting the right guidance and knowledge. And above everything, he always extends helping hand and popular for sharing his knowledge. So let me introduce him formally. He's the psychiatrist and a psychotherapist. He trained at the hospital Clínico in Zaragoza, Spain, at the University of Manchester, United Kingdom, and McGill University, Montreal, Canada. He is the current tutor in the training of junior doctors and head of the research of the psychiatric unit at the McGill Servet Hospital, Zaragoza, and senior lecturer in the psychiatry at the University of Zaragoza. He is a chairman of the Spanish Society of Psychosomatic Medicine, national coordinator for mental health research of the Spanish Primary Care Research Network, and national secretary of the mental health division of the Spanish Preventive Activities and Health Promotion Programs. In addition to that, he is a visiting lecturer at the different universities in Spain, UNED, and abroad, Rochester in the USA, and the Sao Paulo in the Brazil. He has written more than 200 scientific articles, a number of books and chapters in books, and he takes part in the main Spanish and international scientific conferences on mental health and the psychotherapy. He is the editor of the Journal of Mindfulness and the Compassion. His main lines of research are mindfulness, compassion, the somatoform disorders, immigration, and culture-related psychiatry, depression, and minor mental disorders in primary care. Last but not the least, he's a wonderful speaker, author, teacher, researcher, and above everything, a great human being. So please help me in welcoming our guest professor, Javier GARCIA-CAMPAYO. Welcome to the Calvas platform and thank you very much for joining us, Prof.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you in Pakistan. I would like to thank to the Boria Business School for your kind invitation to present a lecture on this challenging subject, mindfulness for a positive life.
Thank you very much, Prof. It's really pleasure to have you with us. A gentle reminder to the audience that Prof will be presenting and he would leave team a time for question answer session at the end of the session. If you have any question, write in comment section or you can email us at info@calvas.com. So over to you, Prof. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to start with a practice. Mindfulness is an experience, and I would like you to have an idea of what this entails. Mindfulness is all about focusing attention, so we are going to do an easy mindfulness exercise. 3 gong strikes indicate beginning and end of practice. I invite you to adopt a comfortable posture, close your eyes, and rest your palms on your thighs. The soles of your feet should be placed squarely on the floor, fully supported by it. I invite you to focus your attention on the soles of your feet. When you do so, you can feel your feet, your socks, and also the floor. Now observe. Is it easy or difficult to keep your attention there? Or does your mind wander somewhere else? And if so, where does the attention go? Only some seconds, and we will finish. What was your experience? Was it easy or difficult to focus your attention on a single point, such as the soles of your feet? For most people, it is quite difficult. Studies say that the mind wanders about 50% of the time. Another important question is, what does your attention depend on? On you being tired or rested? On the object of your attention? No. Attention mainly depends on training, but we are not used to training our attention. Another important question is, what is attention for? There are 2 main benefits for this. First, it improves your effectiveness in any task you do. And second, it allows you to be happier. A quiet mind is a happy mind. Present-day society is considered the most inattentive society at any time in history. 2 examples of inattention are the following. Autopilot, thinking about something while doing something else, and multitasking, doing several activities on purpose. The origin of all distractions is the internal dialogue, that is to say, the continuous talk we have with ourselves. This is the main target of mindfulness, to observe and gradually reduce and disidentify with our idle thoughts. This is our daily life. We never stay where we are. When at work, we are thinking about the weekend or holidays, but even when we are at rest, our mind is also wandering. When it comes to a timeline, our body is always in the present time. But where is our mind? It is often in the past or in the future. But observe which emotion predominates during each of the 3 times. In the past, obviously, there are lovely memories, but the main emotion is grief and sadness. We frequently look back with longing for what we had and have lost. In the future, there are happy projects. However, our main emotion is usually anxiety, the fear of something negative that could happen in the coming years. So, where will you search for happiness in the present? A seminal study on around 3,000 people demonstrates that most happy people are thinking about what they are doing, so they remain in the present. Meanwhile, unhappy people are usually thinking about something different from what they are doing. Now, we know that happiness is at this moment, in the present. But where is it? Inside or outside? Usually we think it is outside. The consumer society tell us that we should have external objects such as money or whatever we can buy with money, fame, social position, or the like for us to be happy. However, Epictetus, a Greek Stoic philosopher, said, what makes us happy or sad is not what happens, but what we think about what happens. Let's see an example. Imagine you are giving a lecture like this one, and you begin to stutter all the time, and the teaching experience is awful. This is a fact. You could think you are terrible and never dare to give a lecture again. On the contrary, in the same situation, you could think, although it has been a disastrous experience, if I train myself, I can give good lectures. Although the situation is the same, what changes is what you think about what's happening. The raising practice is the first one we do in mindfulness. It consists of eating 2 raisins. We eat the first one in our usual way, that is, without paying attention, in a rush. We eat the second one while paying close attention to our 5 senses. First, we observe the raisin, its color, shape, or surface. Then, we smell it, trying to describe its smell as a sommelier would do with wine. It smells of wood, sugar, or berries. Next, we touch it, feeling the rough surface and how sticky it is. And then we put in our tongue gently and suck it slowly to experience its flavor. The raisin is the same in both situations, but the experience is quite different. The first experience involved eating the fruit absent-mindedly, as usual. The second experience involves focusing all our attention. This practice aims to demonstrate the 2 ways in which the mind works, in doing mode and in being mode. Our default setting is doing mode. This state of mind is characterized by constantly thinking, with a continuous internal dialogue. That is, we are always judging, comparing, and interpreting. Our mind is usually jumping from the past to the future, and its main objective is avoiding suffering at any cost. But there is another way to live, in being mode. This mode of the mind, which can be achieved with the practice of mindfulness, and which is linked to great psychological and physical well-being, has the following features. It is based on experience. It isn't conceptual. The mind is open to experience and lives in the present, and thoughts are not confused with reality. So, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness means a state of mind, but it is also the way to achieve this state. The state of mind has been defined by Kabat-Zinn, the founder of mindfulness, as the awareness that arises from paying attention on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally. Here you can see the importance of attention. We create the world with our attention. We create the world with our attention. If I look at one of you, that person becomes my world, and the rest disappear. In this way, a hypochondriac person merely focuses on disorders, doctors, and medicines. A depressive one focuses on negative thoughts and emotions, while an optimistic person mainly focuses on positive thoughts and emotions. The aim of mindfulness is to develop your attention to the point where you can choose your emotional state by selecting your thoughts and emotions. Mindfulness is also a psychological therapy for patients and a technique that allows the state of mind to be achieved. And there is a great deal of scientific evidence of the benefits of mindfulness. In order to practice mindfulness, what we have to do with our body, The posture is quite easy to achieve. Sit comfortably in a chair and close your eyes. Raise your palms on the thighs. Keep your back straight, but not rigid, and rest the soles of your feet squarely on the floor, supported by it. Of course, you can adopt any yoga posture if you can, although this tends to be difficult for most people. But the key question is what to do with our mind. Any mindfulness practice should include these 4 steps. What change is the anchor, but this 4-4 routine is necessary. First, fix the mind on a point, which we call an anchor. This anchor is always related with body, because the body is always in the present. Second, wait for the mind to wander. Third, become aware of the moment your mind moves away from your anchor ASAP. This is the key question for mindfulness. And 4, return your attention to your anchor and do this over and over again and as many times as it takes until the end. This is the technique. So I invite you again to do this practice. Now we can practice mindfulness of breathing. This is the anchor, breathing. Breathing, perceive in the nostrils. I invite you to adopt a comfortable posture. Close your eyes and rest your palms on your thighs. Place the soles of your feet squarely on the floor. And now we follow the 4 previously explained steps. First, we focus our attention on a point of our body, for instance, our nostrils. We feel the air touching the nose as we breathe in and breathe out. Second, we wait for the mind to wander to a thought, to a bodily sensation, or a noise. This is an automatic process because the mind is used to wander. Third, we try to capture the moment our mind moves as soon as it happens. This is the key question. And 4, we return our attention shortly to our nostrils. We continue in this way over and over again the entire time. We keep doing this for 2 minutes. Observe, the mind is used to wander. And it is difficult for us to check it and to return our attention to our nostrils. 1 more minute. And we finish. This is standard mindfulness of routine exercise, very short, only 2 minutes. Moving on to another point, I will summarize the usefulness of mindfulness in different areas. Firstly, you can see the large number of scientific studies on mindfulness released in the recent years. About 3,000 papers were published in 2022 alone. About 500 of these, in orange color, are reviews. This is one of the areas of neuroscience in which more research is being undertaken. The main 4 areas where the efficacy of mindfulness has been confirmed are the following: health, education, work, and sport. When it comes to health, the efficacy of mindfulness has been demonstrated for the treatment of different psychological conditions, such as depression, anxiety, and addictions, and also for medical disorders, including cancer, hypertension, and any pain-related condition. Mindfulness also improves well-being and quality of life. In the field of education, mindfulness can be used by students to improve concentration and emotional regulation, academic performance, school environment, and relationship with parents, and can be also used for teachers to reduce burnout and increase work satisfaction and empathy, and better coping with stress. In the workplace, mindfulness improves work satisfaction and communication between workers and clients, prevents burnout, and increases productivity. This is a short summary of the large companies that embrace the philosophy of mindfulness within its values. As can be seen, it includes technological and pharmaceutical firms and universities, but there are many more. In the field of sport, mindfulness increases concentration and satisfaction with sporting activity and improves sporting performance. These are a number of athletes who openly practice mindfulness. They come from the world of tennis and basketball, but also can be found in other sports. One of the countries with the greatest commitment to mindfulness is undoubtedly the United Kingdom. In 2015, the British Parliament approved a law to include mindfulness in the health system, in the judicial system, and most importantly, in schools. The thought was that if a whole generation of British teenagers received mindfulness training, the country would change. Mindfulness has been front page of journals and newspapers such as Time magazine in recent years, confirming that it has entered the mainstream. We can say that meditation has been widely accepted in modern societies. One of the most commonly asked questions is how much time is necessary during the day and over a period of time to obtain results that could be perceived by the practitioner. Research studies confirm that 10 to 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week, over about 8 weeks, produces change in mindfulness and other psychological variables related with well-being measured by questionnaire. Moreover, changes in brain morphology, as detected by brain neuroimaging, could be observed after this period. In conclusion, mindfulness is a powerful technique with which to increase well-being and treat disorders. It works by increasing body awareness and emotional regulation, and is one of the most highly researched fields of neuroscience at present. Thank you very much for your attention.
Wonderful way. I was just thinking the way you just connected the different slides in which you have given the scientific evidences. You talked about the different modes. You talked about the different steps. How can we know our anchor and return back to the anchor where it started? All the things, and then these practices for the body, for the mind, and then followed by the wonderful exercise as well. So, Prof, I was just thinking that if you are in the class for 1 hour, 2 hour, maybe for 3 hours, how much knowledge you will be sharing and how much great content you will be sharing with the students over there. Because in such 20 minutes, you have given us a wonderful content to ponder upon and to learn a lot from it. And the wonderful exercise which you have just demonstrated is the evidence that how great expert you are in this field, and that's why you are being recognized as the renowned expert for this one. And I really enjoyed this one. Your slides were very simple, at the same time it was very wonderful content, and the wonderful explanation and illustration you did was so great. I really enjoyed this session thoroughly. Everything was so much linked and connected, and I was just thinking that how to grab so many content in the short span of time. Thank you very much, Prof, for such a wonderful session and this wonderful presentation. And now there are a lot of questions which are waiting for your illustration. And some of the questions you have already addressed in your wonderful presentation as well. But certain questions do need your illustration. So should we start with the first question, please?
Perfect. Thank you
Yes,
very
Prof.
much for.
So, yes, Prof, the we want to ask that thank you very much for your wonderful presentation and wonderful slide. Prof, would you like to share with us your thoughts that now we live in the technological world where we have the digital application and technology everywhere we see. So, Prof, would you like to share with us that how can technology and digital applications support mindfulness practices? Yes, please.
Yeah. Now is a concern in many countries for the possibility that psychotherapy can be available for as most people as necessary. So computer psychotherapy using different techniques such as mindfulness are now available in different countries, in Britain, the States, in Spain. So for instance, the use of computer psychotherapy is one of the uses of technology associated with mindfulness. And another example is, for instance, virtual reality. We have some studies, we are not the only group, there are several groups in the world that have associated virtual reality with mindfulness in order to increase the facility for teenagers to complete the training of mindfulness. As you know, our teens are very interested on new technologies, and for them are usually easy to maintain a practice of mindfulness if some of the sessions includes some kind of virtual reality or techniques associated. So these are two examples of the association between new technologies and mindfulness, for instance.
Wonderful, wonderful, Prof. Thank you very much for such a wonderful answer. And now another question is waiting for your clarification, Prof. That is very interesting question as well. And they want to ask regarding the cultural aspect. So they want to ask that, Prof, since you are the expert of this field, so please, what do you think of that? That are there a variation in mindfulness practices across different cultural and religious traditions? What is your opinion on that? Yes, please.
Yeah, mindfulness is a psychological technique that is not associated with any kind of culture, of religion, or something similar. John Kabat-Zinn, the doctor that developed the technique, was very careful with that. No, mindfulness is a psychological technique, so it can be practiced by any people from any religious, political, cultural background, for any gender, any cultural level. So our experience is that there is no problem, no differences between these different origins, backgrounds for people obtaining benefits from the practice of mindfulness.
Yes, thank you very much, Prof, for clarifying this issue because a lot of question comes to mind regarding the cultural and religious practices and tradition related to mindfulness. Thank you. And now one another interesting question they want to ask that, Prof, would you like to share with us that how does mindfulness impact personal growth? And for that particular matter, the self-awareness, would you like to elaborate for us? Yes, please.
Yeah. One of the benefits of mindfulness and of third generation psychotherapies is that they decrease negative affect, so they can be used to treat any psychological disorders such as depression, anxiety, and similar, but also increases a positive effect. So it can be used for people that doesn't suffer from any psychological condition, but feels themselves that don't flourish, they are not happy enough. We have to be aware that 1/3 of the population, it's a lot of people, one-third of the population, doesn't suffer from a psychological condition, a psychological disorder, but they feel not happy. For these persons, mindfulness is a very useful technique because their practice is associated with some positive aspects such as well-being, such as compassion, self-compassion, such as assertiveness, many positive aspects of psychology that can be developed with the practice. So this is the benefits of mindfulness. Decrease negative affect, but also increase positive affect with many different positive aspects that can be cultivated.
Wow, wonderful, Prof. The way you are giving answer is so great, and I'm enjoying the way you are explaining everything and connecting the different dots in a very nice way. Thank you, Prof. And now, one another interesting question. This question has been asked by one of our PhD students. They want to ask that, Prof. So many times I joined the different classes for mindfulness practices to learn it, but my problem is the consistency and continuity. So please, what are some tips you would like to share with us for maintaining the consistency and continuity in the mindfulness practices? Yes, please.
Yeah. The training of mindfulness usually is given by groups of maybe 10 to 12 persons, 2 hours a week during 8 weeks. This is a usual training, 16, 20 hours of training in 8 weeks, and then you can practice by yourself. The amount of practice from them, as I have said, the recommended practice is 10 to 15 minutes a day for 5 days a week. And if you go on practice every 3-6 months, the increase of well-being is very obvious. So this is the amount recommended. I usually recommend to belong to a group with a trainer, experienced trainer for this intervention, 8 weeks of 2 hours, 16, 20 hours, and then you can practice by yourself. Some people prefer to train by themselves with audios, videos, and so on, but it's best the first training to be accompanied by an experienced teacher, trainer.
Yeah, wonderful, Prof. Thank you very much once again for giving such a wonderful answer. And now, Prof, there is one another question. Our undergrad student, they want to ask that, Prof, very nicely you talked about the positive and negative effect of the mindfulness practices. But, Prof, would you like to explain for us that how does the mindfulness practices impact the creativity and productivity? So please share your thoughts on it. Yes, please.
Well, productivity, it's clear. This is the reason why many firms, many companies suggest the practice of mindfulness for their workers, because it decreases the stress and increase productivity. Creativity is also a quite interesting question. There are several circuits in the brain. Mindfulness is related with default mode circuit, and this is the creativity circuit. Also, companies use or recommend mindfulness for CEOs, for a person that is in charge of many people, because it increases creativity. So there's different studies that suggest that one of the easiest ways to increase creativity is to practice mindfulness, maybe 10 minutes a day. So both productivity and creativity are closely related with the practice of mindfulness.
Wow, wonderful. And now you have backed it by the giving references. I think that's the wonderful part. And this is what the researcher they do. They always come up with the references to support their argument. Thank you very much, Prof. And one another question by the undergrad student. They want to ask that Prof, thank you for talking about the positive, negative, and creativity aspect. But now, would you like to share with us regarding the how can mindfulness improve relationships and interpersonal communication? Yes, please.
Yeah, it's the same. Mindfulness increase all positive aspects of the personality, and relationship is also increased because mindfulness is very close related with compassion, self-compassion, compassion with others. So one develop a new point of view in the relationship with others. No, understands that the suffering of other people and of myself is everywhere, and increases resilience, increases empathy for the other people. So the personal relationships are better after the practice of mindfulness. And also the practice of mindfulness connect with the spiritual aspects of the person. As you know, World Health Organizations says that health is related with physical, psychological, social, and spiritual health. And mindfulness allows us to connect with our sense of life, with our impact on the other persons, on the next generations, and the spiritual aspects of oneself are also more aware. One is more connected with this spiritual aspect, regardless of the religious background they have.
Yes, Prof. Thank you very much, Prof. Because we have the time limitation, otherwise there are a lot of questions in the queue to ask you. But now again, I would like to ask one last question, which is very much I want. This is my question as well. That Prof, what is your source of motivation and what keeps you motivated to contribute? Because you are publishing scientific articles, you are writing the books, you are writing the book chapters, and you are the editor by yourself. So many activities you are doing. What keeps you motivated every morning to contribute in such a wonderful way?
Thank you for your question. Well, I'm a psychiatrist, as you know. I always says that when I start to practice psychiatry, maybe 13 years ago, I was impressed by two questions. First, the suffering that there are in the world, and second, that most of the suffering is produced by ourselves, no, by how we interpret, how we think about what's happening, not by what's happening, as Epictetus says. No? And this has been one of my commitments. No, try to help people, try to research, to teach how to be happier, to suffer less, and this psychotherapy in general has been my main interest. But in the last 15, 20 years, third generation techniques such as mindfulness, acceptance and commitment therapy, or third generation therapies, because I think is one of the best tools for decrease the suffering in the world and increase happiness.
True, very true. Thank you very much for sharing with us that what keeps you motivated. That's the two wonderful reasons which I have learned from you. And really, what we think of things are very much important. That the way we interpret things, because this is what we are going to react to it. So our positivity and our focus. And I love the way you just give a wonderful analogy of the anchor, that we must know where our anchor lies and how to return back to that anchor and to have a wonderful mind more. Thank you very much, Prof. Indeed, I love this session thoroughly from the start to the end. And now, Prof, at the end of the session, we ask our each guest regarding their message to the world. So, Prof, what is your message to the world as a speaker, author, teacher, researcher, trainer, learner, and educator? Yes, please.
Well, I always finish my lectures with my students thinking about this. No, I say the people we are here listening, probably we are happy, we live well, we are fortunately enough to have a good life. So if we don't push we don't try to be the world better, who can do that? Because many people suffer so much that it's impossible for them to think about that. No, so I usually ends with a commitment with my students, with the audience, to try to do the world a better place.
Wow, wonderful message, Prof, you have given to the world. Thank you so much. And to the audience that do follow our distinguished guest speaker through his research work, and you can email him for future learning and guidance. He's very generous and always ready to help the people. Moreover, wonderful explanation and powerful content which the Prof has already elaborated will help you to learn and develop your understanding regarding the mindfulness. So that's all we have time for today. And thank you once again, Professor Javier GARCIA-CAMPAYO. I hope I have pronounced your name well, and it was a pleasure to have you with us. And I would like to thank our audience who joined us. If you have any additional question about information shared today, please email us or connect to the speaker directly to his email or maybe social media. Thank you all for your support and liking our session. Stay tuned as many sessions are on the way. Please do not miss any session at the next session. Take care of